Alright guys, so UFC Fight Night, Brunson versus Holland, 12 fights on this entire fight card. The main event, Derek Brunson and Kevin Holland. We have Gregor Gillespie and Brad Riddell in the co-main event. Taito Iwasa, Harry Hunsucker, Adrian Yanez, Gustavo Lopez, Max Griffin, and Kenan Song, Cheyenne Baez, and Montserrat Ruiz, Mary Renau, and Macy Chaston, Grant Dawson, and Leonardo Santos. This is a really good prelim fight right there. Because Leonardo Santos, this man is still on like a 6-fight win streak right now. Inside of the UFC, that's just absolutely insane. Taking on a young prospect with an amazing record of 16 wins and only 1 loss. Also, on an amazing win streak with 4 wins inside of the UFC. That is an amazing prelim fight with Trevin Giles and Roman Dolidze. We have Monto Jackson and Jesse Strader, Julia Avia and Julia Solirenko, and then JP Baez and Bruno Silva. So we're going to get it started with the first fight of the night, and that fight is JP Baez and Bruno Silva. This fight is a flyweight fight. JP Baez, the favorite in the fight, at -190. For the slight favorite in the fight, 24, almost 25 years old, 5'6" tall, has a reach of 67 inches. So a lot of advantage there already for JP Baez. He has the slight age advantage, has the height advantage, and has the reach advantage. Has Bruno Silva, the underdog in the fight, +160, is 31 years old, 5'4" tall, and has a reach of 66 inches. So a lot of advantages there for JP Baez in the fight. And then the Tapology predictions, guys. It's absolutely insane. 1,370 different votes. 86% going for JP Baez to win the fight, mainly by decision, and then 14% going for Silva to win the fight, also mainly by decision. I think most likely the fight's going to go all the way, but JP Baez, I'm going to say it right now, he has finished every single one of his fights that he's been in, and those 2 losses on his record, he's 9-2, right? Those 2 losses on his record are also finishes. So every single one of these, look, guillotine, ground and pound TKO, 4th round TKO, 3rd round knockout, 1st round guillotine, 2nd round TKO, 1st round triangle, 2nd round knockout, 1st round rear naked, 1st round rear naked, 1st round naked. Every single win and loss has gone in the 1st or 2nd or 3rd or even the 4th round in that main event. None of his fights have gone all the way. Let's check his amateur career. His only amateur fight, that is the only time a fight of his, a professional or amateur fight, has gone all the way. That is absolutely insane. I mean, JP Baez went 6-0 as an amateur fighter, knockout, 2nd round knockout, decision win, rear naked submission, another submission win, a 1st round knockout win as a pro, 1st round submission, 2nd round knockout, 1st round submission. I mean, this dude's an absolute beast. His only loss inside of Dana White's contender series to Joby Sanchez, and then this one earlier in his career, he lost that one by 2nd round TKO, but since that loss on Dana White's contender series in 2017, I mean, he's looked really good. 1st round mounted guillotine choke submission, 3rd round knockout, 4th round knockout, 1st round TKO inside of the LFA, and then a 1st round guillotine inside of Dana White's contender series over Jacob Silva. I mean, he's looked really good recently, but Bruno Silva, currently ranked as the 40th best flyweight fighter in the world. He's not really doing too good inside the UFC right now. He has 3 fights inside the UFC. One of them won a no contest against Khalid Taha. The other 2 were decisions that were very dominant against him, against Tagir Lembekov and David Dvorak, who are pretty good flyweight fighters. I believe in the top 20 of the flyweight division, but he lost to both of them by unanimous decision. If you look at how he wins his fights, it's really spread out. 4 TKO and KO wins, 3 submission wins, and 4 decision wins. Out of his losses, 2 by submission and 1 by knockout, and then 3 losses by decision. I think this fight is very likely to end by finish. JP Baez finishing every single one of his fights. Do I think that Bruno Silva is going to finish the fight? No, I do not. If JP Baez were to finish the fight, I would have to say it'd be a guillotine choke submission, maybe a rear naked choke submission, or he gets the fight to the ground and lands a lot of good shots and gets a TKO victory over Bruno Silva. I think that is very likely, but I just don't see that happening in this one. I think JP Baez, there's going to be moments in this fight where it's going to look like he can possibly get a finish, maybe a rear naked or TKO in the fight, but I don't think he will secure that TKO or submission in the fight. I think he's going to take Bruno Silva to the ground and land a lot of good ground and pound shots, get a lot of control time on the ground. And once the fight gets back on the feet, I think they're pretty even in the striking game, the grappling game. I give the edge to JP Baez because he has a lot of control time under his belt, a lot of ground and pound, a lot of control time. So if the fight hits the mat, I think JP Baez will have the advantage. And if it's on the feet, I think it's going to be very even. Maybe give a slight edge to JP Baez. But either way, wherever this fight goes, in my opinion, JP Baez has the advantage. So wherever the fight goes, I think JP Baez is going to win. So I'm going to say it's going to be a 30-27 decision for JP Baez, just because wherever the fight goes, I think he'll do very good. So that is my prediction for the first fight of the night, JP Baez and Bruno Silva. I have JP Baez winning that fight by 30-27 unanimous decision. And then the next fight is a women's bantamweight fight with Julia Avila and Julia Soliarenko. Julia Avila, 8 wins and 2 losses. A pretty big favorite on this one. Minus 350 as a moderate favorite in the fight. 32, almost 33 years old. 5'7" tall. Has a reach of 69 inches. So no real advantages on the height and reach for either fighter in the fight. Because Julia Soliarenko is also 5'7" tall. Has a reach of 69 inches. Maybe a very, very slight age advantage because she's pretty much 28 years old. But she is still a humongous underdog in the fight. Both fighters are coming off of losses. Julia Avila, the 14th best bantamweight fighter in the world. Julia Soliarenko, the 20th best bantamweight fighter in the world. This is all you really need to know. Out of 1,400 different votes, 86% going for Julia Avila to win the fight, mainly by decision. A lot of people have her win the fight by knockout. Julia Soliarenko, 14% going for her, mainly by submission. I think if Julia Soliarenko is going to win the fight, it would be to take the fight to the ground, kind of control it there, go for submissions, get a lot of control time, land some good ground and pound, kind of soften her up on the ground and get her rear naked, get an armbar submission, do something like that to win the fight against Julia Avila. But Julia Avila is probably going to want to keep the fight on the feet, or she 100% has the advantage and could possibly get a 30-27 on the feet. Her last fight was in 2020 against Sijara Eubanks, who right now is currently ranked as the 16th best bantamweight fighter in the world. She lost her by decision. Before that, first round knockout win over Gina Mazzani, decision win over Pandy Kianzad, second round knockout win inside of Invicta FC over Alexa Connors, a first round knockout win over Ashley Dean. One loss, she got a hand injury. It doesn't really count as a loss because she kind of threw a right hand and hurt her hand and had to pull out of the fight. So her only real loss is to Sijara Eubanks in her last professional fight. If you look at how she wins her fights, 4 knockout wins, 1 submission win, and 3 decision wins. She finishes most of her professional fights, but inside of the UFC, she has 1 finish inside the UFC and 1 decision win. So it's very likely she could get another knockout in the fight. But I think this is another one of those that will go all the way, and one of these two girls will win the fight by decision. I'm not really going to count this this knockout loss right here because she did get the hand injury, but that 1 decision loss to Sijara Eubanks. And then her opponent, Julia Soliarenko, 9 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw. Coming off a loss to an absolute beast in Yana Kunitskaya, who's, I believe, like the 8th or 9th best bantamweight fighter in the world by decision. Before that, was in Invicta FC, got a decision win over Lisa Verosa, who was undefeated at the time. A first-round armbar submission win, a first-round armbar submission win, a first-round armbar submission win, a first-round come on, I can do this all day. She has so many armbar submissions, armbar submission, armbar submission, armbar submission. That's basically what she's going to be looking to do in the fight. Get the fight to the ground and do what she always does. Get these 9 submission wins right here. And try to get another armbar submission win. Do I think she's going to get another armbar submission? No, I do not. Julia Avila, she has pretty good submission defense. Pretty good wrestling takedown defense. So I think most likely Julia Avila is going to do a very good job of keeping the fight in the feet. Where she, as I said at the beginning, she's going to have the advantage. I think she's going to outland Julia Soliarenko probably by like 40% in the striking game, but it's all gonna be over if Julia Soliarenko gets her to the ground and gets her in the position to get that armbar, because she has a nasty armbar. I mean, 9 submissions by armbar, and she has 9 wins. That is just absolutely insane. But I don't think she's gonna get that armbar submission. I think Julia Avila will do enough to keep the fight on the feet, defend those takedowns, keep the fight on the feet, and win the fight by 30-27 unanimous decision. So that is my prediction for this women's bantamweight fight. In the second fight, a UFC Fight Night Brunson versus Holland, I have Julia Avila winning that fight by 30-27 unanimous decision. And then after that one, we have another bantamweight fight, this time on the men's side. All I'm going to say is domination. Monto Jackson, the 22nd best bantamweight fighter in the world, 9 wins and 2 losses. Versus Jesse Strader. I mean, this is, come on, minus 550. I mean, he's a heavy favorite on the fight over Jesse Strader, who's 5-1 as a professional fighter. A plus 425, a heavy underdog to win the fight. Monto Jackson is the younger fighter, actually, 28, almost 29 years old, 5'10" inches tall, has the height advantage. I assume has the reach advantage as well. It doesn't really show what his reach is, but I assume he has that reach advantage because 25.5 inches. In the bantamweight division, that is an amazing reach right there. I mean, come on. The temperature prediction is 92% of the vote. I'm seeing that Monto Jackson is going to get a knockout or a decision in the fight. And I don't blame him. Monto Jackson is an absolute beast. He's top 25 bantamweight fighter in the world. So first round knockout, decision win. Second round knockout, first round knockout. third round knockout in Dana White's Contender Series. Just right there, that's 6 wins in a row, with only one of those wins being a decision win. Joined the UFC in 2018. Got one loss to Ricky Simone. Let's see where he's ranked right now. Ricky Simone, the 50th. Why is it saying he's a featherweight fighter? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure Ricky Simone is a top 15 bantamweight fighter in the world. Lost to him by unanimous decision. They got a first round Darce choke submission win over Brian Kelleher, a decision win over Andre Sugmantheth, and then a decision win over Felipe Colares, and then lost one fight to Brett Johns. I thought he was going to beat Brett Johns in this fight, but Brett Johns went out there and surprised us all and ended up winning that fight. I don't know what happened in that fight, but Monto Jackson did lose that fight to Brett Johns. But this fight against Jesse Strader is a huge step down in competition from Brian Kelleher, Ricky Simone, and Brett Johns. He is now fighting Jesse Strader, who has 5 wins, 1 loss. Finishes a lot of his fights, first round knockout, second round knockout, decision win, second round knockout, and first round knockout. Lost one fight to Marcelo Rojo, who's just inside the UFC, I believe last weekend, fought Charles Jourdain. But lost a fight by first round knockout. I think this is going to be an interesting fight, but there's no way I'm going against Monto Jackson in this one. I think this fight is very, very likely to end in knockout or TKO in the first or second round. And I think it's very, very likely. I'm going to go with Monto Jackson. I think he's going to land a really, really nice right hand. I mean, his nickname is Quick, so I'm gonna say this one's going to be in the first round. A nice right hand that's going to put Jesse Strader down. I don't think it's going to be just that one punch that puts him down. I think he's going to get some follow-up punches on the ground. And I have Monto Jackson winning this fight in the bantamweight fight in the third fight of UFC Fight Night Brunson versus Holland. I have Monto Jackson winning this fight by KO or TKO in the very first round. And then after that one, after those 2 bantamweight fights and the flyweight fight, we go on to a very, very interesting fight. Trevin Giles, 13 wins and 2 losses, and Roman Dolidze, 8 wins and 0 losses, and an undefeated fighter. And guess what, guys? Roman Dolidze is taking this fight on short notice and is the favorite to win the fight at minus 145. Let's see, who is Trevin Giles supposed to fight? Driscoll Du Plessis. They betting us for that fight. Not really sure what they are, but Driscoll Du Plessis was the favorite to win the fight, and now he's fighting Roman Dolidze on short notice. That could definitely play a factor in the fight, but Roman Dolidze is moving down from the light heavyweight to the middleweight division. I think he is 100% going to have the size advantage in the fight. He's the favorite. He's 32.5 years old, 6 foot 2 inches tall, and has an amazing reach of 76 inches. So a lot of advantages there, except for maybe the age advantage. He's 6 foot 2 inches tall, 76 inch reach. So that's a 2-inch height advantage, and then a 2-inch reach advantage, but a slight age advantage for Trevin Giles in the fight. The tabloid predictions, I think this is a little bit rough for Trevin Giles, considering that Roman Dolidze is taking this fight on short notice. 80% going for Roman Dolidze to win the fight, maybe mostly by KO and TKO, and that makes perfect sense. Roman Dolidze loves to finish his fights. 4 knockout wins, 3 submission wins, and 1 decision win. His only fight that went all the way was against John Allen. His last fight, that was a split decision in a very, very close fight. That was the only one that went all the way. Let's check the losses. Oh wait, there are literally no losses from Roman Dolidze. He's an undefeated 8-0 professional fighter. Absolutely insane. Trevin Giles, 13 wins and 2 losses. Coming off a third round knockout win over Bavon Lewis, an absolute domination. And then a decision win over James Cross, an amazing striker in the welterweight and middleweight division. He lost to Gerald Mearshart and Zach Cummings. Those are his only 2 losses as a professional fighter. And guess what? Guess how he ended up losing both of those fights? Guillotine choke submission in the third round. I mean, come on, how does that happen? But he has a third round knockout win over Antonio Bragonedo, and then a second round knockout win over James Bogdanovic. A win over Ryan Spann inside of the LFA, LFA 3 back in 2017. He beat Ike Villanueva, who's also inside the UFC right now. He beat Josh Clark, who I believe had a couple of fights inside the UFC. So he's fought so many amazing fighters inside the UFC and even outside the UFC. 6 knockout wins, 5 submission wins, and 2 decision wins. His losses, let's see, both by submission, guillotine choke submission in the third round. This is one where it's really, really close. Trevin Giles is not taking this fight on short notice. Roman Dolidze is the one that is taking this fight on short notice. Doesn't have much time to prepare for the fight. He's a light heavyweight fighter, and it's going to be really rough for him to move down from the light heavyweight onto the middleweight division on short notice. That is a tough task to do, considering it was pretty tough for him to get down to the light heavyweight division, and now it's going to be even tougher for him to get down to the middleweight division. Man, this is going to be a close one. I think this one is going to be a striking battle between both of these fighters. Roman Dolidze, in my opinion, might have the power advantage, but does he have the endurance that Trevin Giles does, and does he have that wrestling and submission background that Trevin Giles does? Because Trevin Giles has a lot of submissions under his belt. I forgot how much. 5 submission wins on his record so far. So guess what, guys? I'm going with the underdog in Trevin Giles to win the fight. I know. I'm going Trevin Giles, the underdog, to win the fight. By decision. I think this one's going to go all the way. I think Roman Dolidze is going to win the first round. Tired himself out a little bit. The second and third round, I think Trevin Giles has the better gas tank. So in the second and third round, I think he's going to put on the pressure on Roman Dolidze, landing a lot of good shots, landing some takedowns, go for some submissions, go for some ground and pound and control time on the ground. And it is a short notice fight for Roman Dolidze. If this was not a short notice fight, I'd probably go with Roman Dolidze to win the fight. But since it is a short notice fight, that is definitely going to take a toll on Roman Dolidze. In his cardio, it's gonna take definitely gonna take a toll on his cardio in the fight. So Trevin Giles is just gonna have that cardio advantage in the second and third round. He has the grappling advantage, the wrestling advantage, in my opinion. Roman Dolidze, the thing he needs to do out there is go out there in the first round and land a nice shot to the jaw of Trevin Giles and get a knockout. If he does that, that's the way he needs to win the fight. But if Trevin Giles gets past that first round, I think Trevin Giles will win the fight by 29-28 unanimous decision. But yeah, that's my prediction. I have the underdog in Trevin Giles winning the fight by unanimous decision. And then after that underdog win for Trevin Giles, we go into an amazing fight. We have Grant Dawson and Leonardo Santos. This fight is a lightweight fight. Grant Dawson, 16 wins and only 1 loss. The -215, a moderate favorite in the fight. He's 27 years old, 5'10" tall, has a reach of 72 inches. Leonardo Santos, the 23rd best of lightweight fighter in the world, 18 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw. The underdog in the fight. He is 41 years old, 6 foot tall, so a slight height advantage there, and 75-inch reach. A nice reach advantage for Leonardo Santos in the fight. And guys, Leonardo Santos, he is the underdog in the fight. All these tabloid predictions are going for Grant Dawson to win the fight because he is an absolute beast. But Leonardo Santos, even at 41 years of age, I mean, he's an absolute beast. Joined the UFC. Let's see when he joined the UFC in 2013. Won on the Ultimate Fighter. Won 3 straight fights. Beat Thiago Santos. Fought Santiago Ponzinibbio. Lost that fight. Joined the UFC in 2013. Second round submission. Got a draw. A decision win. A second round written submission win over Anthony Rocco Martin. A first round knockout over Kevin Lee. A decision win over Adriano Martins. A first round knockout win over Stevie Ray. And then a decision win over Roman Bagatov. I mean, dude, this dude is an absolute beast. 41 years old, beating an undefeated fighter, beating Kevin Lee, Anthony Rocco Martin. That is just absolutely insane. He has 9 submission wins, 4 knockout and TKO wins, 7 decision wins. Out of his losses, 2 of them coming by decision and 1 loss coming by knockout. I mean, Leonardo Santos is a force to be reckoned with, especially at 41 years of age. That is just absolutely insane. Grant Dawson, 16 wins and only 1 loss. Coming off of 4 straight wins inside the UFC over Nat Narimani, Derek Minner, and Mike Trajano, and then Julian Erosa. Decision win, a rear naked submission win, rear naked submission win, and then a decision win. All really good wins inside of the UFC. He beat Adrian Diaz by second round, rear naked submission on Dana White's Hitter Series. His only professional loss coming to Hugh Pulley by first round knockout. Everything else looks really good. I mean, 11 submission wins, 3 knockout wins, and 2 decision wins. That is amazing. This is going to be an amazing fight. I think the striking in this fight, I'd probably give a slight edge to Leonardo Santos. Usually in his fights, he does tend to have the striking advantage. I mean, getting a first round knockout win over Stevie Ray, a really good striker. A knockout win over Kevin Lee. I mean, that's all I really need to say to show you that he's a very good striker. But Grant Dawson, in my opinion, has the grappling advantage. But Leonardo Santos also has some really good grappling himself. So this is a tougher prediction for me, but he is 41 years old. Grant Dawson is in the prime of his career, 27 years old. The grappling, I'd probably give a very slight advantage to Grant Dawson. He looks really good in his last couple of fights with Nat Narimani, Derek Minner, Mike Trajano, and Julian Erosa. I think the first thing Grant Dawson is gonna look to do in the fight is to take the fight to the ground, go for some submission, some ground and pound, try to get a TKO, try to get a submission, get a lot of control time on the ground, and that's the main way I see Grant Dawson winning the fight. But the main way I see Leonardo Santos winning the fight, if he does win the fight, would just be to keep the fight on the feet and try to get a knockout in the fight, or just to keep the fight on the feet and try to win a 29-28 really close striking performance. I mean, if you're out striking Kevin Lee, you can definitely out outstrike Grant Dawson, but Grant Dawson, amazing grappling and wrestling. So I think that's going to be a little bit too much for Leonardo Santos, that grappling from Grant Dawson. But 100% do not count out Leonardo Santos. Amazing striking for a 41-year-old. In the lightweight division, one of the most competitive divisions inside the UFC. Overall, I'm going with Grant Dawson to win the fight by decision in a really close fight, 29-28, unanimous decision for Grant Dawson in the fight. That's going to be a very interesting fight. I cannot wait to see what happens, but definitely have Grant Dawson winning that one by 29-28, unanimous decision. And then we go to the last fight on the prelims, Marion Reneau and Macy Chiasson. This fight was supposed to happen a couple of other times. Let's see right now. It got canceled in 2021, back in February. Not really sure why it got canceled, but now, here in March, at March 20th, on this amazing UFC fight at Brunson vs. Holland fight card, this bantamweight fight is gonna take place. Marion Reneau on a 3-fight losing streak to Raquel Pennington by decision, Yana Kunitskaya by decision, and Kat Zingano by decision. She is the underdog in the fight, 43, almost 44 years old. 5'6" tall, and has reached 68 inches. Macy Chiasson, the minus 215 moderate favorite in the fight, has the age advantage, has the height advantage, has the reach advantage, doesn't have the experience advantage that Marion Reneau does, because she's fought a lot of really good fighters, like Sarah McMahon, Kat Zingano, Yana Kunitskaya, Raquel Pennington, Ashley Evans Smith, Holly Holm, Jessica Andrade. I mean, she's fought the who's who of the bantamweight division. She has 5 knockout wins, 3 submission wins, and only one of her fights has gone all the way, and she won that one by decision. Out of her losses, every single one of her losses has gone all the way, and she lost all those by unanimous decision. Her opponent, Macy Chiasson, she's a very lengthy fighter. If she keeps fighting the feet, she could win the fight. She has really nasty knees in the clinch and has really good elbows. That's going to be a huge advantage for her in this fight right here. She beat Shayna Young in her last fight by decision. Her only professional loss to Lena Landsberg by decision. First round knockout win over Gina Manzani. Second round knockout win over Sarah Moras. Second round submission win over Pandy Kianzad. Was on the Ultimate Fighter season 28. First round knockout win. And then first round knockout win. I mean, she's looking really good inside the UFC right now. 8 wins at... If you include those Ultimate Fighter wins, so 4 knockout wins, 2 submission wins, and 2 decision wins, or only 1 loss coming by decision. Honestly, I see Marion Reneau going for some takedowns in the fight, possibly getting 1, maybe 2 takedowns in the fight. But Macy Chiasson, I mean, Marion Reneau has to worry about it because she has those amazing knees. So even if Marion Reneau goes for those takedowns, she could literally just pop up a knee and catch Marion Reneau and maybe knock her out with one of those knees in the fight. Do I think we're going to see a knockout from Macy Chiasson due to one of those knees? It is very possible. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I do not. I think this one's going to go all the way, kind of like these people are saying. I don't think it's 87% to 13%. I think this fight is a lot closer than people seem to think it is, because Marion Reneau, she's a veteran fighter on this UFC roster, fought some amazing competition, has a really good right hand, has a lot of power in her hands, a lot of good wrestling, a lot of good grappling, but overall, Macy Chiasson has a better striking, a pretty good takedown defense, so I think this fight is going to stay on the feet for the most part until Marion Reneau gets some takedowns in the fight, but overall, it's going to stay on the feet, and I am Macy Chiasson keeping the fight on the feet, landing a lot of good elbows, a lot of good knees to the body and to the head, using that reach and height advantage to landing a lot of good shots in the fight, and she could literally just jab Marion Reneau in this whole entire fight, and win the fight by decision, and that's exactly what I think is going to happen. I have Macy Chiasson winning this fight in the last fight of the prelims at UFC Fight Night Brunson vs. Holland. I have Macy Chiasson winning this fight by 30-27, maybe even a 29-28 unanimous decision over Marion Reneau in this fight.